So welcome, dear friends. Let us start the program by paying homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So that was a short version of showing our gratitude and respect to the teacher and the teaching and the fellowship. So today, I thought let us start by reflecting on what does it mean for Dhamma in daily life. And I want to share an example that I came across yesterday itself. So some of you may know I teach in an English medium Dhamma school on Saturday mornings. It's a purely voluntary basis. So in this Dhamma school, it runs from 8 to 12. Yesterday for about 10-15 minutes, there was a power failure. And children are in a large hall with chairs and tables, and there are fans. So the fans, of course, stopped working. And it wasn't an extremely hot day. It was a normal, warm day, I would say. So I continued to teach. And after some time, one student complained. She said, "Teacher, it's very difficult to concentrate. It's warm, it's stuffy, and the fan is not working. Why don't we stop?" Right? So, and she seemed to be like, sometimes kids want to stop because kids are kids. But in this case, she seemed genuinely feeling unpleasant. So the class I teach is students between the ages of 14 to 16. So this child is 16. So she, so what I told her was, okay, so you're feeling this unpleasantness because the fan stopped working. But if you reflect on it, it's actually a story that you are telling. It's in your mind, and also your experience is in the past. It's not even real. It's not even now in the moment. So she was like, no way. So I was like, okay, so let's think about this. Where are you feeling this discomfort? So she said, I'm feeling it on my body. So what I went on to explain was that your body is one of the sense doors, right? We have 6 sense doors with our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body. Those are the very obvious 5. The mind is also a sense door. It's the 6th one. And while the rest of the world recognizes the 5 sense doors because it is obvious and it's on the body, I think it was the Buddha who called out the mind as the 6th sense door. And the way he called it out, what he explained was all the sense doors, they are doors for external stimulus, external data to come in. It's just a doorway. And as a door can be, it's a very, what do you say, a passive doorway or a neutral doorway. It has no judgment on the data that comes in. And this is what I explained to the student. I said, your body, your skin has no idea about what you think is happening right now. So your body has no idea that there's a power failure, that the fan is not working, it's a hot summer day in Sri Lanka. Your body has no idea about all of these things, right? It's a door to tell you that something has changed from what it was. And therefore, it's a stimulus and it caught your attention. And the data point is you're feeling something on your skin, on your body. And then the neuron system transmits that data to the brain. So you can think of it like electromagnetic charges going up this circuit to the supercomputer brain. That's possibly the easiest way to visualize this or to think about it. And then in the brain, it starts getting processed. And how does the brain process it? It's like any other computer. What you have fed in to the program is how the program will run. So, for example, if we reflect on the program that you have fed in, because this is a natural system. So whatever you feed into the program will run naturally. So from the time you were born up to now, you have your past experiences. And based on the past experiences, words, cultural context, how we grew up, and so on, we all individually attach labels to things that we come across for the experiences we perceive. And in the simplest context, we categorize them as things we like and things we dislike. And of course, there are the neutral things. And the neutral things are not neutral in the sense of upekkha, which is understanding that there's nothing to get excited about here. It's a deep understanding that there's nothing to really get attached to or resent or try to overcome or try to chase away. Upekkha is a deep feeling of there's really nothing to engage in here because it's changing so fast. There's no one in control, and there is no person who is permanently driving this whole thing. So with that kind of understanding comes upekkha. And upekkha is, you can, in a very black and white manner, you can say it's a neutral state. But it's very different to the neutral state that we are naturally wired to. In the neutral state we are naturally wired to, it's almost a selfish disconnectedness, lack of interest in a very selfish manner. And there are only two buckets of interest that sparks in us. And one is because we like something, and the other is because we dislike something. So if you follow the scriptures, the Buddha spoke in a language which is now a dead language. It's called Pali. And in Pali, like was explained as lobha, and dislike was explained as dvesha. And the whole lack of upekkha coming from a feeling of there's a person here, a permanent entity here, who is deciding on these things you like and you dislike and trying to control things. That he said is a misunderstanding of existence, and he called that ignorance. That in Pali is mohan, so lobha, dvesha, mohan. So what he explained was, when anything comes through the sense doors, any data point, it gets processed and understood from this angle. Is this something I like? Is this something I dislike? Or is this something I can't be bothered with? It's not worth my attention. So like, dislike, neutral. So for the students yesterday in the Dhamma school, when there was a temporary power failure, the power failure lasted about 10 or 12 minutes. There was a discomfort in a nice tropical summer day in what externally people consider as a paradise. But once you start living in a paradise, you lose that context, the big picture, and then it becomes another, okay, it's another day, which is warm and stuffy. So so I was explaining this to her, and what is interesting is when you explain something to a person, from the way the person's eyes slightly enlarge in wonder and starts to glisten, these are neuro-linguistic features when a person is really getting something. So I felt really excited as a teacher when I noticed these very slight, subtle changes in the students' features, and I felt I should give a little bit more. And of course, because I was focused on the student, I didn't really see what the expressions were like in the others, but I could see, these are like 14 to 16-year-olds, right? It's very easy to lose their attention. I could see their interest. And that was the whole purpose of these Dhamma schools. Also, of course, we are constrained by a syllabus, but um, the whole idea is to try and explain how this works in real life as well. And I really value and cherish these opportunities to talk to students about what does this mean, and make it not a theoretical something they're doing to pass an exam. That's generally the interesting people coming to these Dhamma schools to pass an exam, not really to transform their lives and find enlightenment. Certainly not. But one can try to inspire them. So, and I was telling her, so where is the story that you told me? Where is that taking place? That, oh, it is very, it's hot and it's stuffy and I can't concentrate. And that is taking place in your mind. Because from the time you are born up to now, you have put in your supercomputer brain carries all these memories. And when this data goes into the brain, it gets processed against those memories and those conclusions and the understandings, the intellectual understandings we have, wisdom, for example. So as you grow up from a child to an adult, there comes much more into it, what we call emotional intelligence, our ability to regulate ourselves in spite of what is going on externally, to regulate ourselves internally, and to show up in a manner that suits the occasion, in spite of you wanting to scream or shout or, like you would have done when you were a baby or a child. Now, the difference between the practice and that is in the corporate world and in the normal social world, we do this all the time. We show up in spite of what is going on inside. And that is a suppression. And that's fine too. It's a temporary suppression. But this is about really understanding what's going on. And through that understanding, realizing that a realization dawns that maybe there's nothing to get excited about here. Another thing I told her was, so one is I said that this is an interpretation in your mind based on your past experiences and your conclusions. And you can rewire this program with different conclusions to say that this is data. And if I stay at the data level, if I stay at the door, keep my understanding at the door and not at the place it's getting processed based on past memories, that is just a data point. For my body, this is non-judgmental, present moment awareness. Present moment, being mindful about the present moment is defined in this way. Be aware of the present moment, of these changes that's happening through the external stimulus. The external stimulus is telling us that something has changed. And being aware of it in the present moment, you then understand that, something has changed. And cultivating a habit, a skill. This is a skill, like riding the bicycle, swimming. The more you practice, the better you get at it. And if you do this 10,000 hours in your life, you get to Olympic athlete level. That's a rough benchmark. Anything you do in life, if you do it for 10,000 hours, which is approximately equivalent of 10 years of mainly doing this only, you get to Olympic champion level if there's Olympic championship for this kind of thing. That's the general idea. So with this skill, you then realize that you can be non-judgmental about it, and that's the pure definition of mindfulness. And this is why the Buddha said, maintain your mindfulness, be vigilant all the time, just be mindful. And by what he meant was by just be mindful is exactly this. there is external stimulus bombarding you from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. And during this bombardment, if you can maintain your mindfulness at the sense dose itself, to understand with wisdom that these are just sense inputs. My sense door, my eye, your favorite person in the world may suddenly show up, and your eye does not see your favorite person. Your eye sees colors and shapes, light. Somebody will be praising you, saying you are one of the best people he or she has met. And it's very likely that the same person, and this is, I'm sure you had this experience, the same person, sometime later, much later, based on something you did or you did not do, scolding you, saying you are one of the most horrible people in this world. And your ear does not recognize any of these things. Your ear recognizes some ways. And food, there's so much of conflict in households, whether how food should be prepared. So, for example, a favorite conflict in this side of the world is whether dal should have a certain level of salt. Is that enough salt, not enough salt? And it's very subjective. Your tongue does not recognize this. Your tongue is capable of recognizing 6 distinct tastes: sweetness, sourness, I think 6 or maybe 7, I may be mistaken. But anyway, it's like sweetness, sourness, spiciness, bitter, salt, of course, and so on. It can recognize any one of these distinct tastes. What it cannot recognize is whether dal should have less salt or more salt. That it cannot recognize. That is a story we have created in our mind. And that is a story that can lead to a divorce if you're not careful, or break strong relationships with friends, or never get invited to their house for dinner again, or something of the sort. And then, of course, the body, like the sense, the touch sensations, and of course the mind. And this is where a lot of people struggle to understand that mind is a sense door. And the way to understand the mind as a sense door is think of your mind like a large hall or a living room that has lots of windows and doors, and they are all wide open on a beautiful summer day. And as a result, anything from outside can just come in. And let's say that a lizard from your garden chanced to wander in. That is the best way to describe the mind. And this is not when you are consciously writing your report or you are consciously doing something. This is when you are on automatic mode, when you have nothing to do or you are deeply engrossed in something else, and just chance thoughts coming, moods change, thoughts coming, and you suddenly find yourself in a bad mood, or some thought came in saying, you know, that guy last week, he scolded me, I'm going to meet him tomorrow. So that thought just popped in. You didn't invite it, you didn't create it, and it shattered your peace. And this is what the Buddha said. He said, no matter what the data is, it usually shatters the space. And the mind naturally knows this space. So what he explained as nibbanic bliss, the peace, all of that, he said, your mind already knows this. It's a natural state of the mind. And what has happened is when this external stimulus come and bombard you, you get carried away with that because of self-inflicted labels of these are things I like and I want it. I want to control it and I want to get it and keep it with me and not let it change at all. Or these are things I dislike. I want them to be away from me forever in life and never come across them ever again. That wanting to control, first of all, defining things that you like and don't like, and then wanting to control. And through that, having this idea that there is a permanent being here able to control this. This is what is causing the shattering of the peace. And through wisdom, when you one day realize that there is nothing to control here. It's all automatic. Everything is changing anyway. And the last thing I told the student was the mere experience that you are now privy to. Your brain has now processed this and now told you that it's based on your own memories and labels and the program that this is uncomfortable, this is inconvenient. By the time you realize this, that moment is gone. It's not even real. It's already gone. Because it's so fast. The change is so fast, and the perception of the change is so fast. Your consciousness, it rises and passes away, rises and passes away, very fast, very rapidly. By the time you process something, that moment has passed, and we are actually experiencing a past tense, old data. The environment has changed and moved on. Something slightly different, or very different. So this was, I wanted to share this story to help you understand how the practice needs to be done. So the simple thing is this: whenever you feel irritated or frustrated by something that is not going as per your expectation, it could be something you are seeing, it could be something you are hearing, it could be something you are feeling on your body, on your tongue, to your nose, or some thought or mood that comes in, like the lizard who wandered in. Now, if we practice the Buddha's way of not engaging, just observing, and this is what he said, just observe. The only business of you in this world is to just observe, not engage. Observe without judgment. What would that lizard do? The lizard just wandered in. The lizard has no business in this house. The lizard will wander out. Just a matter of time. Mostly it's seconds. When a thought or a mood comes in, it's seconds actually. 20 seconds, 30 seconds. But what happens is, usually when you see a lizard has wandered in, you take a broom and you try to chase the fellow, and the fellow will run all over the house and probably go underneath something and not come out for a day or two. And that is how, when a random thought comes to us, we get engaged, and that thought stays with us. And anything that comes from externally shatters the peace. And then for days, your peace is shattered because you are engaging with it. But if you just observe that, the thought has entered. What kind of a thought? A disturbing thought has entered the mind. Or a thought has entered the mind. There's no judgment. A thought has entered the mind. But you can be aware. You can be aware of that it has a disturbing effect on you. You can also be aware and let it be. Just like you're letting the lizard be. And then the lizard goes away. And your thought or the mood goes away. And that is how it happens. It's automatic process. No one is controlling this. Why are these things coming in? Nobody knows. External stimulus. So let us practice. And this is what we are going to practice. Now, in order to do this, the Buddha said, you need to start seeing in a special way. And this is what he called Vipassana. Seeing in a special way. Vipassana. So you would have heard this term so often. It's also called the Satara Satipatthana. So Satipatthana is being mindful in 4 different ways. And Vipassana is the same thing. You are developing a skill. It's like riding a bicycle, swimming, or a toddler learning to walk. We are developing a skill. And the more we practice this, and the practice is twofold. One is to sit now on a Sunday morning and to practice it, and maybe daily when you do this for half an hour or 1 hour. The other practice is to then look for these opportunities in the real life and try to reflect and bring out this practice. Because the best place to practice is in the heat of the moment, When your peace is shattered, that is the best place. And the first step is to recognize that the peace has got shattered. And the second is to then observe and let it be. Everything has its own time. Just let it be. So this process, this practice needs a lot of compassion, love, and kindness for yourself, because we will feel frustrated a lot about our own abilities. And during the sitting down practice, or what we call the formal practice, you get frustrated about your distracting mind and various other things. If some technique you couldn't grasp it, you can get frustrated. So metta, or loving kindness, we practice for this reason, to help us to be first loving and kind to ourselves, compassionate to ourselves. When I teach this in Dhamma school, I tell the children, you know about the flight when you are on a plane, or taking and doing some air travel. There's always this golden rule. If the oxygen levels come down, you must put the oxygen mask first. And I would tell students, the Buddha invented that to the world. He said there's only one way to do this. You have to be kind to yourself first. You have to be compassionate to yourself first. You have to forgive yourself first, because only then you can have the energy, the strength to be kind to others, to be compassionate to others, and to forgive others. So let us start. So let me tell you how we are going to practice. I will first do 10 minutes of guided loving kindness, metta meditation. And then I have my father, who has also taught meditation, and he taught this at the Morato University, for the engineering students as a optional subject. So I invited him to do the mindfulness concentration part, anapanasati, the technique, focusing on the breath. That we'll do for 10 minutes. And then we'll practice the various Vipassana techniques, so that you develop the skill of being able to, because it's all about self-awareness. Be aware when you like something, to be aware when you dislike something, to be aware of the moods you are in, and so on. So let us then start, friends. Sit in a comfortable posture and close your eyes gently. Focus your mind on your posture. Bring your attention to the here and the now. And you can do this by focusing on the posture. You are now seated, or recommendation is to sit. Lying down can put you to sleep. So there are 4 postures: sitting, standing, lying down, and walking. So I have found that people are not that keen to do standing meditation. When you close your eyes, you kind of, some lose the sense of balance. So many prefer sitting. So I'm assuming that you are sitting. So bring your attention to your posture, and this is a good way to ground yourself in the present moment. You are here now, sitting, ready for a meditation practice. You can fill your heart with love, with a lot of love. Bring your attention to the body. We are going to do what we call a body scan. So we are going to move from your feet to your knees, and then the full length of your legs to your stomach, the chest, the spine, the shoulders, the full length of your hands, then your neck area, and the head. Let us do the body scan. With a lot of love, bring your attention to your feet. May my feet be healthy, relaxed, and well. You can imagine your entire body is made of cells, live organisms. They can feel this love, and they can feel the kindness, the compassion flowing. May my feet be healthy, relaxed, and well. Bring your attention to your knees. May my knees be healthy, relaxed, and well. May my knees be healthy, relaxed, and well. You can bring your attention to the full length of your legs. May my legs be healthy, relaxed, and well. May my legs be healthy, relaxed, and well. You can bring your attention to your stomach. Visualize the food digestive system, the various organs, the stomach, the kidneys, and the pancreas. I must brush up myself on these organs and the rest of it. The intestines, large intestines, small intestines, the liver, and so on. May my stomach be healthy, relaxed, and well. May my stomach be healthy, relaxed, and well. Now bring your attention to your chest area. With a lot of love, think of your lungs, heart. May my chest area be healthy, relaxed, and well. May my chest area be healthy, relaxed, and well. With a lot of love, bring your attention to your spinal cord. May my spine be healthy, relaxed, and well. May my spine be healthy, relaxed, and well. With a lot of love, bring your attention to your shoulders. May my shoulders be healthy, relaxed, and well. May my shoulders be healthy, relaxed, and well. With a lot of love, bring your attention to your hands. May my hands be healthy, relaxed, and well. May my hands be healthy, relaxed, and well. With a lot of love, bring your attention to your neck area, your throat, the tube that carries food, the tube that carries oxygen. May my neck area be healthy, relaxed, and well. May my neck area be healthy, relaxed, and well. With a lot of love, bring your attention to your head, the brain, eyes, ears, nose, mouth, hair. May my head be healthy, relaxed, and well. May my head be healthy, relaxed, and well. Now let us focus on your whole being, what we call me, myself, I. May I be healthy, happy, relaxed, and well. May I be healthy, happy, relaxed, and well. May all the people in my life that I love, that I cherish, may they all be healthy, happy, relaxed, and well. May they all be healthy, happy, relaxed, and well. May all the people that I come across, that I don't know that well, people we call the neutral people, I come across them, but I don't know them. well. May they all be healthy, happy, relaxed, and well. May they all be healthy, happy, relaxed, and well. Then there are people who have hurt my feelings by the things they said or the things they did, maybe consciously, maybe unconsciously. May they all be healthy, happy, relaxed, and well. May they all be healthy, happy, relaxed, and well. Now let us spread loving kindness to all beings. Any being that is born may be seen, unseen, could be here where I am now practicing. All beings in the city I'm living in, the country I'm living in, or this world, planet Earth, all beings on this earth, all beings in this universe, far and wide, as far as the universe goes, all beings, may all beings be healthy, happy, relaxed, and well. May all beings be healthy, happy, relaxed, and well. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. This concludes our metta meditation, loving kindness. Let us now move to the breathing technique, Anapanasati meditation. And I invite my father, Professor Raja Tyagis, to conduct this.
Everyone Saranai. Now we'll practice Anapanasati meditation. Now, sometimes this is called mindfulness of the in and out breathing, mindfulness of the breath, mindfulness of the respiration. Now, one important thing to remember is that we don't control the breathing. Whole day we breathe in and out, but we are not controlling. It happens naturally. So during the practice, also we allow the breath to be natural. So now the posture. So you can sit on a chair or on the floor. You can use a cushion if you are sitting on the floor. If you are sitting on a chair, it's preferable to be a simple chair, not a very cushion chair that is too comfortable. So what we need is a a straight back chair. So let's now sit comfortably. Gently close your eyes. Now contemplate the surroundings with equanimity. Now make your spine as straight or erect as possible. Then take a deep in-breath. Slowly, gradually breathe out, feeling the relaxation of the body. We do this only once to get the posture more accurate. Now we contemplate our posture. First, bring the attention of your mind to the head, then to the upper part of the body, seated area of the body, legs and feet. So now we are aware, we are ready to practice. Now bring the attention of your mind to the breath and be mindful of the in-breath and the out-breath. There should not be any controlling of the breath. However, if you are a beginner, you might get the idea that there's some control happening, although you are not doing it intentionally. So as long as you are not doing it intentionally, it's okay. Just observe the breath going in and the breath coming out. For some people, if they are aware of a sensation at the nostrils or the upper lip of the breath coming into contact with the skin, then this might help to do the practice easier. But it is not compulsory that you are aware of any sensation. Just be mindful of the in-breath and the out-breath. If the mind has strayed, come back to the breath with equanimity. There's nothing to think, just observe the breath. If the breath, if the mind has strayed, come back to the breath with equanimity. That is, without getting annoyed that your mind has strayed. Especially the beginners, they get annoyed with themselves. You have to come back with equanimity. If the mind has strayed, come back to the breath with equanimity. Now you can stop the meditation. Do not open the eyes at once. Open the eyes slowly. Are there any questions about the Anapanasati practice? Can unmute and ask. Okay. Teruvan Saranai.
Everyone's on
Thank you for that meditation practice on Anapanasati by my father. So let us Now more to the practice of the other techniques. At the beginning, I mentioned Vipassana or the Satara Satipatthana, the four techniques of mindfulness as prescribed by the Buddha. What we did now, Anapanasati meditation, falls under the first bucket, which is mindfulness of the body, Kayanupassana, being mindful of the body. So you are mindful of your breathing.
Mindfulness of the body and bodily activities.
Mindfulness of the body and bodily activities. So let us move to the second part, which is being mindful of sensations, body sensations. And this we call Vedanānupassana. So here I am using a shortened form of the popular Goenkaji technique. And as Goenkaji himself mentions, this is a technique that was brought forward by the Buddha. However, for some periods of time, this was forgotten in the world, and we are thankful to Goenkaji for bringing it back as a beautiful practice. So what is this technique? The principle behind this is our body is made of small particles, very small particles. So from whatever the science we learned in school, we know that our body is made of cells, and these cells can be further divided into atoms, and the atoms have subatomic particles. Now, through his insight meditation, through the wisdom of the mind, the Buddha saw that there are even smaller particles, perhaps. I'm not sure whether there's any research done on subatomic particles and what the Buddha saw, whether it was even smaller and whether there is yet more to be discovered by modern science. Certainly at the time the Buddha saw that our body is made of tiny particles, science had not even started in the way that we understand science now. So we'll leave that for a later comparison. The principle of the matter being our entire body is made of very small particles, and these small particles change at a massive speed, very fast. So they are too small for us to be able to see with our eye, and they're too fast in the speed of change to grasp with our mind. Therefore, for the naked eye, which is made of flesh and so on, you see yourself, the same person you saw yesterday when you look at the mirror, today you look at the mirror, nothing has changed. However, in that moment of looking at you in the mirror, everything has changed. The tiny particles they rise, they change, they pass away at rapid speed, too fast to comprehend. The rising, changing, and passing away, the Buddha referred to as Jati, Jara, Maran. These were Pali words. Jati being rising, Jara means changing, Marana means ceasing to be. So our entire body is made of such tiny particles, and we are changing all the time. And this is where the whole non-self principle came from. Which particular particle are you? And even if we can pinpoint to a particle, at the time we pinpoint, it has changed too. So while we feel through our six sense doors, we feel that there is something sort of permanent here. In reality, it's a flux of tiny particles changing at a rapid speed. So what is the manifestation of this? With such rapid activity, so much of energy bubbling, with so much of activity, there must be something that is manifesting. And that is what the Buddha found out. All of this manifest to the body surface in the form of sensations. And these things, when your concentration is strong enough, you get to experience this yourself. And this is why, if you see the flow of the practice today, we start with loving kindness so that you are patient and kind towards yourself. And then we move to Anapanasati, which helps to focus your mind and to concentrate. And this level of concentration is required to now investigate these sensations. So where do you feel the sensations? So technically, you feel the sensations from the tip of your toes to the top of your head in every possible space of the body. But initially, it takes a bit of practice to develop the awareness of this, because these are so subtle. They're very subtle, and it needs a concentrated mind to be able to be aware of these sensations. But if you are looking at a bit of a shortcut method to the whole process, because the Goenkaji technique is a process we learn in a 10-day retreat. And this is something I have participated, and I went because my father recommended it highly, and he went a couple of times. And there are others, I believe, in the program today who would have participated. So the first 3 days focuses on Anapanasati, where you really build your concentration. And the latter 7 days focus on step by step going through a guided process of recognizing these sensations. So what I'm telling here today, and we will practice for 10 minutes, is a shortcut method to try and experience this in a shortcut way. So if you bring your attention to your feet, the sole of your feet, and if you focus and start developing an awareness of the various sensations you feel at the sole of your feet, what do you feel? You might feel a very subtle numbness, a feeling like some kind of an itchy feeling. It could be any one of these. A numb feeling, an itchy feeling. You might feel like the skin or the bottom part of your sole, it's stretching. You might feel like it's contracting. Sometimes you might feel like there's a bit of a pressure being applied there. Or you might feel like something has lifted and there's a feeling of lightness. Maybe it is a feeling of very subtle warmth. Maybe it's a subtle feeling of coldness. Maybe it feels like some little insect is running around, a little ant or some other very small insect. Insects are running around. Feeling like a scratching feeling, feeling a bit irritable, maybe some discomfort. It could be anything.
Dryness.
A dryness, a feeling of wetness, a feeling of a weight, a feeling of a lightness, stretching, pulling. It could be anything. And these are sensations that manifest from the change that is taking place in the body. With so much of change happening, these things do manifest. It's a matter of time for you to feel them throughout your body. So the sole, the bottom of your feet is a good place to see this. Another place to experience this is the palms of your hands. So if you bring your attention to your palms, similarly to the sole, you may feel any one of these sensations. A numbness, itching, stretching, contracting, dry, wet, warm, cold, heaviness, lightness, some pressure,
Numbness.
a numbness, a tingling effect, like little insects are running around, itchy or scratchy. So my personal experience is I feel it more at my soles. There is certainly feelings on the palms, but at a lesser magnitude than the soles. Another place you will feel this is the top of your head. And here, just to jumpstart, we call it inverted commas, jumpstarting these sensations on your head, you can take your hand and you can gently scratch the top of your head. Just scratch it a bit with your fingers. Scratch the top of your head with your fingers for a few seconds. And then you can take your hand away and focus your attention on that, on the top of the head, the area that you were scratching just now. And see what you feel there. And when I am, of course, when I'm referring to see, it's with your mind's eye. What do you feel? Do you feel the scratching? Do you feel some itching? Do you feel a tingling, a numbness, a feeling of stretching, or a feeling of contracting? Some kind of a weight, some kind of a lightness, a heaviness, a dryness, a wetness, warmth, cold, little insects are running around. It could be anything. So let us practice this. What you could do is from the sole of your feet, come to the palms of your hand, and then to the top of your head. And then from the top of your head to the palms of your hand, to the sole of your feet. Don't stay in one place for a long time. Come to the soles and see whether you're feeling sensations. If the answer is yes, then you move on. If the answer is no, look for a little bit and then move on anyway to the palms. See whether you can feel anything on your palms. If the answer is yes.
With equanimity.
Yes, so the word equanimity, I earlier mentioned upekkha. The English term is equanimity. And that is to be non-judgmental. To not believe that this is good or bad, this is right or wrong. It is what it is. It's being non-judgmental in a compassionate and patient manner. It is what it is. So you move to the palms. Do you feel something? If the answer is yes, you move to the top of the head. If the answer is no, okay, stay a minute or so and just see. And then move to the top of the head anyway. And then similarly in the top of the head, do you feel sensations? If the answer is yes, move back to the bottom of the feet. If the answer is no, stay a minute or two and examine. And keep doing this. And the whole idea is that gradually the gaps between the feet, the palms, and the heads begin to fill. And gradually you will start to feel sensations in the whole body. So that's the idea. Let us try this. Nothing like trying it, experiencing it, and I'll keep the timer for 10 minutes. Let us try this for 10 minutes and see. We can begin now. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right. Let us move to the next technique, which is Chittanupassana. That is the mindfulness of thoughts, moods, and so on. How thoughts come and go, how they change, and the nature of it, and our reaction to it in terms of whether we like it or not, and so on. So, one easy or the best way to do this is to start getting awareness of when a liking has come into our emotions, or a dislike. So if you refer to the inputs that come from these sense doors, these inputs are neutral at the sense door. It is we who understand this or process it or perceive it as something we like, something we dislike, or something that is neutral. And the neutrality is a selfish disconnectedness and not equanimity, which is a non-judgmental awareness of what's happening. So in order to develop this skill, we need to be aware when we like something and when we don't like something. And this liking and dislike is very, very automatic. So yesterday, I was telling the students, because the girls and the boys, they were having a friendly go at each other. And I felt that the girls were probably troubling the boys. And I was telling the girls that if I describe you as beautiful flowers in a flower bed, how do you feel? And they were like, oh, we feel very good. Then I said, if I describe you as cow dung in a in a park, how do you feel? And they were like, we don't like it. Now I said, the moment you heard these two words, flower, the word beautiful flower, and it being attributed to you as a quality, a liking just arose, right? It was, you didn't have to create it, you didn't have to invent it. It was just automatic. It was automatic response. And similarly, when I alluded cow dung to you, cow's poop, rather, an automatic dislike arose. So this is what we have to be sensitive towards, and this is what we need to develop awareness. Now all the girls, they recognize the like and the dislike that automatically arose to the words, because the words in our mind, we give it meaning, and we attribute those meanings from a personality self, and especially when it is directed towards you. And of course, what I was trying to tell them is how we behave, how we speak, and how we act gets interpreted by others. And at times they may perceive you as beautiful flowers, which is fragrant and nice. And at times you might be unpleasant because of the things you say and the things you do. And it might be as contrasting as cow's poop. So the moment you say a word, or you see something, or you feel something, these likes and dislikes arise. So Chittanupassana is observing this. Chittanupassana, or mindfulness of thoughts and moods and all of these things, these feelings, because earlier we were observing the sensations on the body. Now we are going to observe the feelings in the mind. And these are feelings, feeling of I like this, feeling of I don't like this, and feeling of desire, feeling of aversion, feeling of love, feeling of dvesha. So how do you do this? Now, when we are sitting in meditation, and there are 6 sense doors, everything is, the starting point is this external stimulus. So we can assume, not assume actually, the eye sense door is closed. So while you're sitting in meditation, there is no light, colors and shapes of light coming in. Then if we assume that you are not eating or drinking anything right now, you can assume that your tongue sense door is shut down. And if there's nothing particularly pleasant or unpleasant to smell right now, you could assume that the nose sense door is also shut down. So that leaves us with 3 fully functioning sense doors: the ear, the body, and the mind. So let us focus on the ear first. Listen well to what you hear. Is there a liking to what you hear? Is there a dislike? Or is it neutral? Focus your attention on what you feel on your body. Are you under a fan? Do you feel the breeze? Are you in an AC environment? Do you feel the cold? Or depending on whether it is winter for you, some parts of the world, is there enough heat to keep you comfortable or not? So that comfort, discomfort. A like, dislike has various variations: comfort, discomfort, pleasure, displeasure, pain. Is there any subtle pain or discomfort now in your body due to the posture? All these things you can observe. And with that observation, the question is there a liking? Is there a dislike? Or is it neutral? This is what we observe or train ourselves to observe, because then in the daily life, the practice is also the same. When you notice that your peace is shattered, you're feeling irritated or frustrated or getting angry, or some emotion is flooding your senses, your emotions, your mind, you can see what is the stimulus. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Okay, friends, let us practice for 10 minutes. Let's begin now. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now let us move to the last technique of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, Satara Satipatthana, and that is Dhammanupassana. So Dhamma refers to laws of nature. And being mindfulness of the laws of nature is about us observing this automatic process that we are in right now, the automatic process that's taking place in the mind. So the Buddha said there are 5 distinct things that shatters the peace of our mind. The mind knows this nibbanic bliss, the peace, naturally. It's the natural state of the mind. It's the external stimulus and our reaction to it that shatters this peace. And there are 5 distinct reasons that this peace gets shattered, and to be aware of it helps. So that each time your peace is shattered, you can also look at it. Oh, okay, so it's this bucket of things. So one is sensual pleasures. The need to look for sensual pleasures, the need to please ourselves with sensual pleasures all the time. So, for example, when we are meditating, there'll be a need to drink something, to eat something, to get up and change the posture to something more comfortable. So we are comfort-seeking, pleasure-seeking beings. We are sensual beings. We want comfort and pleasure all the time. And because everything is subject to change and nothing is permanent, we need this all the time, because no matter what we do, it's not enough. Once it is satisfied, there comes the need to do something else. So it's a never-ending cycle. And that's why the Buddha said that quenching the thirst is not the path. Because this thirst, which he referred to as tanha, the thirst for sensual pleasures, the way the natural system works is the more you quench it, the more ferocious it becomes. So observing this is a starting point. It's all about self-awareness. It's all about observation. As the Buddha said, that's the only job we have, observe. And how do you do this? While you're meditating, when you get distracted, and when you notice that you're distracted, you can just examine which bucket does it fall under. Is it a sensual pleasure distraction, where you felt like, oh, I need to drink something, I need to eat something, I need to change my posture, or it's a bit warm here now, it's a bit cold here now. The second bucket is aversion. So the first bucket in Pali is referred to as kamachanda, sensual pleasures. Second bucket is aversion. And that is where there are things that we dislike. So if the posture is uncomfortable, a sense of dislike comes in. If some noise starts in the external environment and it's disturbing you, and that's whether you are working or meditating. If you're driving along, somebody cuts across you or something or the other, or there is some traffic build-up and you get irritated about it. So this is all the things that fall under the aversion bucket. And as you get relaxed in this meditation, you will feel a laziness, a sleepiness, which the Buddha referred to as sloth and torpor. And as we continue to meditate, the Buddha described our mind being a monkey mind, and it wants to jump here and there, and it's always restless, always agitated. So you can observe this. Is my mind in a state of agitation, restlessness? Or humans are always going into the past and regretting things we said, things we did, or thinking about the future and getting anxious and worried about things of the future and getting restless and agitated about your things to do list, things I need to do next, and so on. So you can see whether this is the bucket. And lastly, of course, this bucket of skeptical doubt. Is this the path to peace? is this really going to work? That kind of doubts. And this is not to say that it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's just to say that that is what it is. So these are 5 natural phenomena that arise in our minds all the time. It's part of the natural system. Sensual pleasures, aversion, sloth and torpor, restlessness, regret. Restlessness you can also think of in terms of agitation, regret, and skeptical doubt. So let us just take 5 minutes because I'd like to leave some room for any questions and comments as well. Let us just take 5 minutes and engage in this Dhammanupassana technique. Okay, let us start now, friends. Focus on your meditation, on the breath coming in, going out. And whenever you are distracted, reflect on which bucket does it fall under. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. You can now gently open your eyes. So today what we did was, we did 10 minutes each of guided meditation for loving kindness, anapanasati, and then we did mindfulness of the thoughts, moods, emotions, mindfulness of body sensations, and mindfulness of Dhamma, or the natural automatic process that we are subject to. So next week, what we'll do is, we'll do each of these in shorter guided practices of 5 minutes each. And that'll leave us room for about 20-30 minutes of silent practice, where you can use a combination of these techniques. So typically how this works is, we start with Anapanasati meditation, and then as you get distracted and as you feel sensations, you go and observe the sensations, and you come back to the breath. And as you get distracted, you observe the thoughts that distract you, see the like, dislike that's arising, and you notice the bucket that it falls into, the buckets of this natural process that naturally arise in us, and so on. So it's a combination, because how life happens is in this combination, and then to be in the moment and to observe it in a very non-judgmental way becomes a practice. So I hope you enjoyed this session. Let us now open for any questions or comments, your thoughts, and so on. So let me ask Ms. Chitra, who is usually happy to share. Ms. Chitra, would you like to share something?
I joined little late, Nadisha, today.
Yes.
Yeah, I practice that Satara Satipatthana,
Yes.
that senses you asked to observe. I observed it, my feet and the top of the head.
Right.
But in the palm, I couldn't make any senses actually.
Okay.
I got tingling feeling, and then something like insect moving, pressing kind of feeling top of my head, and also feet also itchy and some moving kind of feelings. I got very well. Then Chittanupassana and Vedananupassana, I was just observing. Then there's a bit of a commotion, and I'm in a silent place. My grandson went for a karate competition, and they coming and talking about it. So I was a bit inquisitive. Then I thought, no, I can ask later on, and I tried to get a neutral feeling at that moment. Then the Dhammanupassana, actually, it is too short. I started Anapanasati.
Yes.
But not, you have to do at least 30 minutes to get the real feeling.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you for that. Always appreciate your sharing.
I won't be able to join the evening program, Nadisha,
No
today.
problem. Don't worry about it. In fact, that is why I'm having this morning program, especially for a couple of you who are overseas. I know that the timing doesn't work. So that's why we are having this program in the morning. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai. Isurumali, would you like to share anything today?
Thank you very much, Akka. I feel as if the new medium is helpful for me as well, because my Sinhalese is a little weak. So I feel as if I was able to grasp the concepts a lot quicker. And I really like the gradual introduction to the different meditation practices. So I still think of myself as very much a beginner that is gradually trying the different forms. And I really like the opportunity to be able to try it. My favorite form is the Chittanupassana. As before, I really like kind of focusing on the mind, because that is usually what challenges me the most in terms of kind of fleeting thoughts entering during the various meditations. And I also really like the Anapanasati Bhavana that Shanti Mama introduced as well. It was very nice to see the different forms and to kind of draw attention to the fact that we need equanimity whenever the mind strays as well. Yeah, thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Excellent. Would anyone else like to share anything? Shanaki or Samanthi or Sumitra, Auntie Srini?
Hi, Nadiaka.
Hi, Nangi.
Hi. So just a quick observation. So in the last bit, I noticed, so I was just trying to put this thought into a bucket,
Yes.
and I didn't know which bucket it falls into.
Okay.
So as I was meditating, I was thinking, I really need to share this program with one of my friend's dads. And I
Right.
got really distracted about that, just going down that path and thinking he's going to really enjoy this.
Right.
And then I had to tell myself, okay, come back. You're just going down that path and thinking how much he's going to enjoy this too much. And I didn't know. Then I tried to think of, okay, which bucket does this fall under? And I couldn't put it into a bucket.
Thank you so much for sharing with us. This is beautiful. So this falls under thinking of the future, a future activity. And whenever we think of a future activity, it falls under restlessness, a mild agitation, because we are restless to get it done. Did you see that restlessness?
Definitely, yes. That's it. I
So
can't wait to share it with him.
So that is the fourth bucket. Similarly, when we are meditating, we might think of our things to do list. And even when we are doing something else, suddenly we remember that we need to do something later in the day, and that everything about the future causes a restlessness in us, because either we can't wait to get it done, or we are impatient, or it's absolutely the normal natural state of the mind to be in that state. So the fourth bucket, which is restlessness and regret, is about the future and the past. What the Buddha said is the mind rarely occupies the present moment because it's very boring, there's nothing happening. But actually the real peace is in the present moment. But the monkey mind loves to go into the future and get agitated because they're sort of jumping up and down in it. And the monkey mind likes to go to the past and regret and say, I wish I did this, or I wish I didn't do this. And so it likes the action in the future and in the past, even though it comes at a huge cost of the agitation, the restlessness of the future, anxiety, and then the regret, the repent, and the greater, bigger effect of it is depression. Being too much in the past leads to that depression, and being too much in the future leads to anxiety. So, and these are extremely normal things. It's part of the natural system that we then start to observe. So thank you for that. And since we are on the hour, I think we should stop. So one learning for me also is I'll try to cut down on the initial bit I talk about and maybe keep it for like 20 minutes. And do this practices for 5 minutes each, so you get to know what the technique is. And I think what is really important is for us to practice quietly for about 20-30 minutes and then share our experiences. So let us try that format next week, same time. So I look forward to seeing you all. Let us transfer merit in the traditional way. So we transfer merit of our so there were a lot of good intentions here, good energies, good thoughts, and good actions. And all the merit that we gain, let us transfer it to the Devas or any other being who would benefit from it, including the people who you know that have passed away, as well as may this merit transfer to you all and keep you all safe and healthy and happy. And may this merit strengthen your practice. And may you be able to transform and rewire yourself to the permanent blissful state that we call a Nibbanic state in the very near future. May you all be blessed by the Noble Triple Gem. Therwan Sarnai.
Everyone, sir.
තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
Tirivan Saranai.
Seruan Saranai Natisha.